We're going to call to order the City Council meeting for Monday, September 15th. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Edgar.
Here.
Councilmember Grose.
Here.
Councilmember Kusamoto.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Murphy.
Here.
Mayor Graham Mejia.
Here. We're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance given by myself and the invocation by Councilmember Grose. Please remain standing for both, if you would. Put your hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing.
As we assemble tonight to consider the business of our city, please watch over and guide our council so that we make decisions that benefit our entire community. Please also be with our citizens, especially those who are sick or those who are experiencing crisis in their lives, and help them to recover and find guidance. Watch over the thousands of soldiers who are defending our freedom throughout the world. Protect them and comfort them. Please also watch over the first responders in our community as they help to make our town and our lives safe. We ask all of this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Next, we're going to have some presentations. If we could have the council join us down in front. Just when you think it's over. The first presentation we have tonight is for a retirement plaque for David Pierce, who has worked for the city for 33 years, and we're sorry to see him go, but we want him to come up and be recognized. Please give him a hand. Please right here. He already looks retired. He's got a smile on his face. We just wanted to present this plaque to you because you have given such a large part of your life to taking care of our city, and we greatly appreciate it. And I'm sure the council members, like myself, are going to miss you and hope for you to have a happy retirement. And if you'd like, we'd like to give you the opportunity to say what a great city it is.
I'd just like to thank the city council and the rest of the staff for this wonderful plaque. It's a wonderful city to work for. Worked here for 32 years, 9 months, and it's a great city to work for. And also, I'm sure it's a great city to live in, which I don't live in it, but I'm sure it is.
There's always
Anyway,
time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your service.
Thank
We
you.
greatly appreciate it. So next, I'd like to call up Ava Rich, who is a young lady in our community. Come on up, Ava. I received a call from Ava's mother, who had told me that at the young age of 10, that Ava had contacted the city on her own, looked up the website to make sure that we were aware that this month is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And she is fighting a battle herself and looking beautiful while she's doing it. But she's the one who's responsible for all the beautiful yellow ribbons around the community to bring awareness. And I will tell you that just the little bit that I've had the opportunity, everyone's, what are the yellow ribbons for? What are the yellow ribbons for? So thanks to her, this young 10-year-old girl, she's bringing awareness to a very difficult event. I had a nephew who was not well with cancer, and so I greatly appreciate all the hard work you've done. Why don't we bring up your mom? Mom has been very, very involved also. And so this is Gina, her mother. I'm sure the rest of the family has been very involved also. It's not something you could do by yourself. But Mom, why don't you go ahead and tell them about the friends that have come forward to help you with doing the ribbons and also putting them up all over town.
Well, we've had a lot of support from our friends, and we had support from you too, Mrs. Mejia, and it was so nice. And Mrs. Shafton helped me, Mrs. Levy, and the Stanides family, the
Yeah.
Carmos family. We just had a lot of families that day that came out and helped us, and it really touched my heart, and I know it touched Ava's heart too, and our family is very blessed to have so much support and friendship and
Absolutely.
love.
And that's something you can really tell about a quality of a person by their friends. And they had a huge group that showed up the first time. And then as there were more bows made, she had friends that came each time, smiles on their faces, happy to do it. I just thought that was wonderful. So I just want to give Ava and Gina a hand for all their... And then why don't you guys stay up here real quick? And then what we'd like to do is call up Susie Barnhill, because when we got involved with this process, Susie's right here. Come on forward, Susie. I tried to make bows, which I just have to tell you, that's not my specialty. About 8 feet of yellow ribbon, and I realized I was in trouble. So what I did was I was at an event for some friends, and I ran into Susie, who's come before the council a couple of times for some items. And we were talking, and I said, oh, that's right, you work doing flowers. Do you know how to make bows? She goes, oh, I can make bows all day long. So on behalf of the city, Susie, I would like to thank you personally. Susie took the time on 2 separate occasions to make over 300 bows probably to be put up around town, and she was really cute. After she made the first set, we went out and we put them up, and then she said, you know, I noticed there wasn't any by City Hall. And she knew that Ava was going to be coming in to get her award, and she wanted to make sure that Ava knew that the community supported her at the city level. So second round, she makes a couple more bags of bows, and I just thought it was really a neat community connection, that these people don't know each other, but they came together for this cause, and I just wanted to give each of you a hand.
Thank you. I just am proud and pleased to be able to support, because it is a worthy cause, and kudos to this young lady for reaching out and helping us all be more aware. Thank you.
You don't have to do that. You're welcome. She's a little shy, but she's doing the good work. So please make sure that if you need anything in the future, you let us know. Okay? All right. Thank you very much. All right. So next, we'd like to call up Miss Poppy. Colina, you're going to have to help me with your last name.
John G.
John G. Just what I thought. All right, well, we are going to give this commendation to Colina, and I need this piece right here. I'm going to read you a little bit about what she's done in order to become Miss Poppy. It's not something you can do very easily. Colina's 8 years old, and what a great community we have. 8, 10, and these kids are taking up causes that adults don't even bother with. So she's entering the 4th grade, and Colina's work to elevate community awareness, respect for our veterans by educating our community about the poppy's significance. Poppies have become a symbol of the remembrance of soldiers who have died during wartime. Colina has made numerous visits to the Long Beach VA and to visit the veterans and to encourage students in her school to enter the poppy poster contest. She passed out hundreds of poppy flowers at Cypress Forest Lawn on Memorial Day, and has participated in Veterans Day services at the Joint Forces Training Base. You get around more than we do. Colina was recently named Little Miss Poppy for the state of California by the American Legion Auxiliary. We are here to recognize Colina for her outstanding community service and commend her hard work and dedication to our nation's veterans. Mom, do you want to come up so she feels a little... No? Anyone want to come up? I'll stand right here. You know what?
Just turn around. You're doing great.
You know, one thing that brought this young lady to my attention was I was over at the American Legion for an event for, as Councilmember Kusamoto corrected me, a flag retirement ceremony. And she and her family had taken stars from these retired flags, cut them out in remembrance, and gave them out as tokens. And then wasn't there also like a small flag that she did that was folded up?
Yeah.
What's the significance?
Pocket flags is something that we can pass out to our, we send out little pocket flags to our military. So when they're away from home, that they have something to remember, and it's a little piece of remembrance from us.
Awesome. Well, I just have to say that, you know, we're so proud to have such a great community in our youth and even in the parents because, like I said, these things don't get done without the parents. So congratulations to you, and we look forward to seeing the future with great other things that you're going to do, okay? All right. Thanks for coming.
I know. Thank you. I need one.
Oh, that's right. She's so thorough, she even brought him tonight to share with all of us. All right, so our next presentation is for Greg Gillespie, proclaiming Los Alamitos as Red Shirt City. Greg, can you come on up? And Greg doesn't look like he made it, so we'll move that to the end. And moving on to item E, presentation to Bev Harrison, volunteer with Alzheimer Association, Orange County, for Alzheimer's Awareness Month. So this is a dual month. It's for child cancer and for Alzheimer's.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. All right, so what we're going to do is I believe that these people who are involved have a much better understanding and convey to you better what this is all about. So I'm going to go ahead and give this to Bev. And Bev, I'm going to give you the microphone so you can share with us what this is about and what we can do to help.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having our association recognized this evening. The Alzheimer's Association works with families and individuals who are experiencing what many of you have also probably been touched by through friends and family, and that is Alzheimer's disease. It is a public health crisis that we're facing at this point in time with regard to that. Every 67 seconds, someone in the United States of America develops Alzheimer's. It is the 4th leading cause of death in our county, Orange County, and the 6th leading cause of death in our nation. More than 84,000 residents in Orange County and between 5 and 6 million individuals in our country are currently living with Alzheimer's or a related dementia similar to that. I was looking at the number 84,000 residents of Orange County, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if we took the population of Cypress, of Los Alamitos, and Rossmore and combined those three, that would be the number of people in our county dealing with Alzheimer's disease. That's pretty mind-boggling. The association provides free services, education and support for people and families coping with dementia. There is a 24/7 hotline. It's staffed by social workers and is available, as I said, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in 170 languages. We provide information, referrals to local resources, and support to those who are in need of assistance. And on a personal note, I would like to add, I am a volunteer with the Alzheimer's Association because my husband was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 6 years ago, and Jack has passed away. And this association got us through one of the toughest times in our life, and has reached out to many other people also. And so hopefully I can give back a little in his memory and encourage all of you to encourage those that you know that are dealing with this disease, and let them know they're not alone. There are people out there ready to reach out a hand and just say, you need to talk, you need whatever, we're here. And most of all, I would like to thank you, Mayor Mejia, for having us here and for what your community is doing to get the word out there about the Alzheimer's Association. Thank you very much.
I just want to say that what a great country we live in where we have this free service for people who are suffering and struggling. And I just have to commend you because it takes someone special who's suffered like you have with your husband to come forward and give your time. But you really are the key to the answers for everyone else. So I wanted to say thank you so much for all the work that you do. And it's very little that we're recognizing you. Thank you for being here tonight.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Oh,
Did you get one?
I was going to go through
Orders
the
from
phone.
the association
Yeah,
again.
exactly. Got to follow order. Thanks for coming, Bev. All right, and our final presentation is a proclamation to Chief Tracy McClelland from Orange County Fire Authority for Fire Prevention Week, which is October 5th through the 11th of 2014. Tracy, will you come forward, please? You've got to give our first responders a hand. They're always there for us when we need them. On behalf of the city, I want to present you with this proclamation for Fire Prevention Week. And like I said, I like to give it to the experts to tell us
Sure.
what it's about, because you're a little bit more efficient at it.
Right.
Thank you for coming tonight.
You bet. I came prepared with some stats kind of to just bring awareness for Fire Prevention Week. This year, for Fire Prevention Week 2014, we're focusing on working smoke alarms in our homes. That's something that's fairly easy that we can all grasp, and kind of some stats. 7 people died in the U.S. home fires per day between 2007 and 2013. So that's 7 people per day. And what we look at that is leading cause. Cooking is the leading cause of home fires and injuries in the home, and smoking is still the leading cause of fire deaths in the home to civilians. And all of this can be prevented by having a working smoke alarm in your home. 60% of reported home fire deaths between 2007 and 2013 resulted from people not having smoke alarms in their homes. And if they did have smoke alarms, the batteries were dead or the batteries were pulled out of those smoke alarms. So it's something that we can all, it's very preventable. I mean, fires sometimes happen accidentally, but having that smoke alarm up there, something we can help save our lives and as well as our family lives. When they do fail to operate, usually because the battery, like I talked about, missing, or they're dead or disconnected, and they've kind of gone with a new, I know we put our 9-volt battery in there and we test it twice a year. They've kind of improved everything, and they make smoke alarms now that are good for 10 years. Wow. You buy it, it's a sealed unit, you put it up, you don't have to, I mean, you should test it every month to make sure it works, but you don't have to replace batteries or anything for 10 years, put a little date on it or write on the inside cover. After 10 years, you pull them down and you throw them away. Go to Home Depot, wherever you want to purchase it, and put up a new one. So there's a sealed unit with all the lithium batteries and everything that's advanced in the batteries. They're good for 10 years. So that's what we encourage everybody to test their smoke alarms. They should have them in every room, every hallway, living room, family rooms, things like that, all through the house. And that way we can prevent some of these fire deaths. One more quick thing, OCFA, as far as our top fire risk that we focus on are vegetation fires, like we have the one going in Silverado Canyon right now. Cooking fires, smoking fire, vegetation fire, again, they're intentionally set, and then electrical fires. And in closing, with going along with Fire Prevention Week, we have open house Saturday, October 11th at our OCFA station number 2 right down the street in Los Alamitos from 9 to 2. We'll have open house, come on by and bring the kids and visit the fire station, drive on, or sit on the fire engine and come see what we're all about. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I would encourage any of you who haven't been to the fire station. The firefighters are really great, and it's good. It's good for your children to have that experience, to go and have the knowledge so that they're prepared as youngsters, as we have here, but also as they grow into adults. And the smoke alarms, those are such simple things that can save lives. So I just would encourage you that if you have the possibility to do that, protect yourself in that way. And I know I've personally pulled the batteries out because I was probably dying, it was squeaking, I couldn't get it to go off. So I'm going to have to talk to my husband and get some of those up in our house. But thank you so much for coming, for taking care of us. All righty. That's it. Okay, so we're moving on. We're going to go ahead and open, oh, well, let me double check. Do we have the gentleman, Mr. Gillespie from Red T-Shirt Week here? Don't want to start without him. Okay, well, we'll see if we can hold that off until the next meeting. We'll move on to oral communications. At this time, any individual in the audience may come forward to speak on any item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Remarks are to be limited to no more than 5 minutes per speaker. We have one card from Janelle Godges from Southern California Edison. Welcome, Janelle. Thanks for coming.
Members of the council, Janelle Godges with Southern California Edison. I thought I'd stop on by because it's hot.
Yeah.
It's very hot. So I wanted to come and provide just a little bit of information that I think will help residents and businesses as we are working through the extreme heat and weather conditions. I first and foremost wanted to point out that Edison has a wonderful app. It's a free app, and so if you or your business is affected by an unplanned or what we would call an emergency power outage, we have quite a few that are occurring right now due to the excessive heat. Usually those do occur in the later part of the afternoon into the early evening hours. Most of the time that happens because our equipment, when we have long durations of excessive heat, it just can't cool down. So you have folks that are coming home from work and from school, turning on the AC, getting dinner ready, maybe a load of laundry. So to the extent that customers can help us shift load to non-peak hours, which is 2 to 6 p.m., we'd be greatly appreciative. But that app, you can find it on your smart device, or if you don't have a smartphone, you can actually go onto our website. It's sce.com, and at the top you can click Outage Center. And so I brought my iPad, and you can kind of take a look. I think it'll show you there's little triangles. There we go. And that's a live shot right now of where we're showing either planned or unplanned outages right now. But you can click on it, it'll say the city, and it'll let you know the cause of the outage, our expected restoration time, how many customers are affected. If you don't have access to a smartphone or a computer, you can also call our 800 number, which is 800-611-1911. Again, that's 800-611-1911. And you can inquire about an outage or report an outage. I also brought some information. I'll leave it with the city clerk, ways to cool down and help us offset that load and demand on the grid. First and foremost, I know you've heard it before, but I can't stress enough, if you can have your thermostats, program them to 78 when you're at home or 85 when you're away from home, it would really help us as we're trying to get through this excessive heat. Unplug your appliances. They're what we call energy vampires. So if you have that electric toothbrush and it's just sitting there and it's already charged, it's still pulling out energy. So unplug those unneeded appliances. We were talking about fire safety, so I will point out that you can cook with your grill, but please do it outside, and away from dry brush or structures. But if you wanted to keep your home cool, don't turn on the oven. Go and have a nice barbecue with the family. You can also replace your lighting. Lighting actually emits a lot of heat. If any woman's ever gotten up in the morning and done their makeup in front of the mirror, it depends on the light bulb that you use. So consider changing over to CFLs or LED lighting. And finally, close the shades. Try to keep that light from coming into the home, and trying to keep your home and business as cool as possible. We have some programs that are available for homes and for businesses. If you haven't signed up for your summer discount program, you can apply, and you can receive up to $200 in bill credits. It's just a little device that we attach to your AC. You still have power, it just attaches to your AC unit. And then we also have what we call a Safe Power Day. So if you curb your energy usage during those peak times from 2 to 6 p.m. and you participate in the program when we call an event, you also get an incentive. So I'll leave this with the city clerk, and stay cool out there.
Thank you so much. We were all talking about the heat before the meeting started, so some of those I think would be greatly helpful. Can we list those on our city website and then the contact number? Thank you so much for coming, because everyone's impacted by this heat, and we really appreciate the update.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close oral communications and move on to item 7, warrants. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
I have a question.
Okay. Councilmember Gross?
On the 825 warrant register on page 3, there is a $3,539.59 charge for renewal of annual dues to the Orange County Council of Governments. And I talked with the city manager earlier, and I thought that these kinds of things were going to be discussed as renewals occur. And so I would encourage council to not approve that item until we have an opportunity to discuss it. We've got the League of California Cities, we've also got the Orange County Association of Cities dues that are coming up. This is another $3,500, and I'm not sure that we have anyone participating in OCOG at this time. It's usually coordinated through SCAG, and I don't think any of us are really serving on SCAG, so I would ask that we approve the warrants without that item.
I'll second that motion.
So that'd be a substitute motion?
No, I said oh, okay, yes.
Okay.
So, Wendy, do we need to do a roll call on this, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go ahead with the substitute motion. All in favor, starting with
First,
Councilmember Edgar?
we have to vote first to do, I guess, procedurally. What is going to be the next step? Because I put a motion on the floor. I would have amended it just to go ahead and handle the change, but it's up to you guys.
But don't you handle the secondary or the substitute motion?
I didn't hear a full motion in there, but I guess if that's your motion, your motion is to approve, except you're going to withdraw the one item for a further discussion.
And as the maker of the motion, if you'll concur with that in the second, then we'll move that way.
Withdraw.
Yeah. When is that for the period going forward, or is that from the
14,
past?
15.
Going forward.
Okay. Yeah, I would amend my motion for that.
Okay, great. And Richard, are you going to second that still?
Sure.
Okay, great.
And one more thing, just for clarification, and I know that the reimbursement is in here for both Councilmember Edgar and myself, and I think I will abstain from the vote on this one because of that, and I know that we're allowed to, but I think it's just better form to abstain.
Reimbursement for which item, Warren?
The reimbursement for our candidate statement that...
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I will abstain too. That was a good move. Yeah.
Okay,
I think
so
it's
I'll make
good,
the
yeah.
motion then to move forward with the warrants, keeping out the item that Dean brought forward and moving the remainder.
Except the reimbursements.
Except for the reimbursements. Well, they're just abstaining, right?
Well, they can't abstain just for two warrants. So you need another motion for those two warrants where they abstain, but they can vote on the entire.
So handle it
Oh,
separately.
okay.
Correct, Carrie?
Right.
Do the first one? Okay.
Okay.
So the first motion is to move forward, removing the two items that pertain to Councilmember Kusamoto and Edgar to be addressed in a separate motion, and the item that Councilmember Grose brought up regarding the dues. So my motion would be addressing the warrants with regards to the dues being withheld, and that's my motion. You have a second?
I'll still second.
Second, all in favor? I'm sorry, roll call.
Councilmember Edgar?
Yes.
Councilmember Grose?
Aye.
Councilmember Kusamoto?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Murphy?
Aye.
Mayor Graham Mejia?
Aye. Okay, moving on to the second motion, which will pertain to the council members' reimbursements.
I'll move.
Okay, so
I'll move
moved.
the action.
Rich?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Edgar?
Abstain.
Councilmember Grose?
Aye.
Councilmember Kusamoto?
Abstain.
Mayor Pro Tem Murphy?
Aye.
Mayor Graham Mejia?
Aye. Moving on to number 8, consent calendar. All consent calendar items may be acted upon in one motion unless a council member requests separate action on a specific item. I'm going to pull item B. I don't need a staff report. It's just to keep consistent with my voting. I don't want to have to vote no on the whole consent calendar. So anyone else wishing to pull any items?
G, please.
G for Richard.
I'd like to move the balance, and I just want to make a note that I am a member of the St. Isidore Committee, but I do plan on voting on this item, and I don't think there's a conflict of interest.
You're having to do an awful lot of reporting because
I
you're
know.
so involved. Okay, so we're going to pull items B and G, and I have a motion to move the remainder. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None, motion passes. Go back to item 8B. I'd just like to take a vote on this. I voted no on it before, not to belabor the issue, just to make sure that I'm consistent with my voting. So do I have a motion?
I'll move approval.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes. Moving on to item G, award of bid for alley improvement projects. Richard, would you like a staff report on that?
I just have a question. We're I questioned the 10% contingency reserve last time, and now we're up to 19%. I realize this job has the water table. Dave, is that the reason?
That's a portion of the reason. What this project is it's a grant, and the grant we have for $140,000 for the work out there. With alleys, we found that half the alleys, when we dig them up, we do have a lot of groundwater underneath there. We've had to remove anywhere from 2 to 3 feet of muddy mess and replace it with gravel and all that. For a small job like this, it may sound like it's a lot of money, but it's comparatively to a typical, $600,000 job, it's not. So it's just so I don't have to stop the project and come back to the council and get that. I basically take any additional requests that come in, I clear it through the city manager before we give them the go-ahead, and then we'll cover it that way. But it's for small jobs, I have gone up to 20% in the past. I've never used it, just to be clear. I've never really gone above 10. It's more of a security.
Okay, I will move the item if nobody else
Second.
has any comments.
Okay, all in favor?
I've got a
Aye.
question first.
Great, Dean.
If we're setting aside 22,000, you said if you find a problem you need to do that, you go to the city manager to get authorization.
Yeah.
City manager's authorization level is 10,000. So how does that apply in this
Aren't
case?
we allowing for that, though, with this vote, for the money
Yeah.
to be allotted?
Yeah, the procurement ordinance, I believe, allows us to override that in the change orders and allow the city manager the authority, and it's delegated through the council at the contract level, if I remember.
Okay. I think to kind of go along with Mayor Pro Tem Murphy's, I'd like to know when this project is finished, how much we had to do in terms of an override.
Yes, every job when we're finished, I do a notice of completion and give you guys a staff report. I explain in detail each extra and why and what it was for. And they're typically change of conditions, they're all for additional work and stuff like that. So you will see that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right. So we had a motion and a second. And so all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion passes. Moving on to discussion items 9A, I'm going to request to continue this to the next meeting. I have some additional research that I'd like to do. So if there's no opposition, I'd like to continue that to the next regular meeting. Okay?
Could I ask, when do we have to make a decision on the fireworks for next year?
Well, I know Corey had said that they have to be ordered by March, but this...
March, okay.
Yeah, so we've got a little bit of time. Thank you, Rich, for that. And then 9B is a review of the draft joint use agreements for McCullough and Oakfields and the draft master joint use agreement with Los Alamitos Unified School District, discussion of future individual joint use agreements. We actually did that at our earlier meeting, so we will be, I guess, moving on to council comments unless the council would like to make any comments with regards to the items that were discussed earlier. Okay, seeing none, move on to item 10A, mayor and council initiated business. Who'd like to go first?
I'll go first. I had the opportunity this month to participate in a number of different events. Those are all listed on my personal website, which is loshal.net. It does include the information. I would like to additionally pay comment to Golden State Water Company, who made a presentation to us a month ago about what the plans were relating to the drought, and they did send out an important drought information card to each customer, listing numbers and listing the issues that were brought forward by the state. I would like to clarify that what we were told at the time was that these are regulations that citizens and customers should undertake. The implementation of the fine will be based on people that do not cooperate and or take corrective actions when they're notified. I think that is correct. Is that correct, Del? Yes, okay. But I'd like to compliment Golden State for at least making the effort after our meeting to send out a flyer to each of the customers. And with that, I'll pass it on.
Sure, thank you. So I had an opportunity to meet with Eduardo Lerma from Loretta Sanchez's staff. He's, I guess, her staff out in D.C. He was out here for just to look at their district. And the meeting was set up by Townsend Public Affairs, and it was just an opportunity for us to discuss some of the things that were going on in our city and relative to the Joint Forces Training Base. And the reason why is because Loretta Sanchez sits on the Defense Committee over in Congress. So it was a very interesting discussion. I was there with the Community Development Director Mendoza, and I thought it was just an opportune discussion. I think it's just one of those things that we do to build a relationship. The other thing is that I want to thank Councilmember Grose. So we attended the 9/11 observation at our local fire station. They do it every year, and pretty solemn, and they rolled out the truck at 8:46, and then there was a moment of silence at 9 a.m. to commemorate the tragedy that happened in 2001 with the Twin Towers. So we had a chance to do that, and with that I'll turn it back to you. Thank you.
Rich?
Yes, I wanted to actually thank two people who, we have a great staff who do a lot of work that goes unnoticed a lot of times, and I was able to attend the Coyote meeting in Seal Beach. Cassandra's already blushing. And there were 300 to 400 people there, and there were 350 angry people there. Cassandra was part of the presentation panel, did an excellent job answering the questions, and got a lot of information out to the people. Also, I'd like to thank our own Stephen Mendoza, who did a very unknown, unsung, actually went to a planning meeting and volunteered to take admission so he could get a free admission, save the city some money, and allow another commissioner to attend the conference, and really commendable. Also had, Brett and I were able to meet with Golden State Water after their presentation, and we are hoping to work more closely with them in the past, because I think the drought is going to be a huge statewide issue the next couple of years, and there's a lot of information that needs to get out to people, and so we can start not really sacrificing. It doesn't even need that at this point. Just awareness would go a long way. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Edgar?
Yeah, a couple things. I was very thankful for the follow-on actions from Gold State Water, also the information they had forwarded on. They took some hard questions in our last meeting and were really responsive. Not necessarily that I totally agree with where they're at. I still get a lot of feedback that they'd asked for comments after the comment period had closed officially, so we were a little bit late, but I understand where they're at. I also wanted to just notify the rest of the council. I was contacted by Nestor Valencia, the mayor of Bell, the new mayor of Bell, and apparently there's 2 hospitals that are going to be closing in LA County. They're called safety net hospitals. I don't know if any of you guys have had any discussions on this, and the potential hospitals closing. The question to me was, hey, Troy, you guys are really involved with Los Al Medical Center. Are you guys concerned about the impact for these lower income service provider hospitals closing on Los Al? And I did what all of us do. I said, I'll talk to staff and ask if they can talk to the hospital staff, and other than just give them our opinion. So I just want to make you guys aware of that. I'm supposed to meet with them later this week. And I would say one thing that came up in the meeting that we had on the working group meetings for all the fields that we share with the school district, I just want to say again how glad I am the way that I think our council is trying to deal with the school district and recognizing how important that relationship is. We're at a point right now financially where we are really in a hole. We've done everything. We've restructured our bond ratings up. We've reappropriated our reserves to cover our long-term pension. It's a great story. But at the same time, we're starting to add clarity to these relationships we've had for 20, 30 years. And like I said in the pre-meeting, is that sometimes clarity brings friction. And even for myself, having some direct issues with the school district on things that have happened in my neighborhood, I think it's hard sometimes, but you got to look above what's going on for yourself and see what the bigger issue is, which is trying to have a relationship that we work through. And I think the school district has been very open and through that process, and at the same time we're trying to save money and figure out what we're doing. So one of the items that came up was Councilmember Grose brought up a really good idea, and I just want to kind of add an exclamation point to it and jump on his bandwagon, which was the reclamation water that's used in the city of Long Beach for El Dorado Park. Being an ex-Orange County Sanitation District wastewater guy, it was really interesting. I leave my house here to go to the plant in Fountain Valley, but one of the biggest plants is right across the San Gabriel River for Long Beach, and that's where they do a lot of the LA County treatment over there. And from that, they're able to take the reclaimed water, where in Orange County we give it to the water district, treat it a couple more times, and send it into the ground. They send it through Purple Pipe and use it to water El Dorado Park. We've talked about it for 6 or 7 years. I think Dean's first tour of duty about, hey, wouldn't that be great? And, the infrastructure required is just get it over the river canal versus taking it through a really busy city. And Dean, I would just jump on your bandwagon. I think that's a great idea. I hope city staff pursues trying to hook into that. Is Oak Field at the Oak, or not Oak, at Oak, where we're going to have a significant water bill coming for that new field, and we share it with the school district. Hopefully we'll be able to do something there, and just please keep us informed how that goes on your side. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. I just have a couple of things. Regarding coyotes, the elected officials group met, I don't know, Brett, was it a month and a half ago, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
And we talked specifically about coyotes and the impacts that it's having on the neighboring communities. There was an action that was taken by a representative from Seal Beach whose district covered Leisure World, and they put some grates to block entrance through the drainage areas, which they hoped would deter those coyotes. So we, as a as a group, instructed our staffs to look into whether or not those grates would be something that would benefit our community. So Cassie, if you don't mind, just a couple of quick words about what we found out about that.
The majority of the area where the grates are located over in Rossmore, where the coyotes are coming through, are actually channels that the coyotes are using. Here in our city, where the coyotes are coming through, are not necessarily areas where we can put a grate over it. Mm-hmm. So Tony's actually gone out and looked at some of those areas. We find that most of the coyotes are coming, through the parks, under fences, over from the Joint Forces Training Base. And Tony and his crew have gone out, actually in previous years even, and found places where you can tell the coyotes have come under the fences, and they've repaired the fences to block that entrance point. But so far we haven't been able to find any of the locations. It's a different type of pipe that's over there, and if some of them can be blocked, some can't, because it would cause flooding, it depends on where it is. And the areas over in Rossmore are just a different type of grate.
Great. Well, I just wanted to make sure the community knew that we are taking whatever steps we can to try and prevent the coyotes from making their way into our neighborhoods. In addition to that, I spoke with Gary Miller, who is a representative from Seal Beach, who's very active in this item also. We are hoping to meet next week to discuss some items that might be something that the cities can use to help abate the problems with the coyotes and what they're doing to our local animals. My last thing that I have is a report out from Vector Control. I'm sure many of you are aware that we had, unfortunately, 3 deaths in a very short period of time, which is a big concern from those of us over at Vector. We had a year from like 2008, prior to that about 9 years, where we only had a total of 9 deaths in that whole time. And so the fact that within a couple of weeks we had 3 deaths, one in Huntington Beach, one in Seal Beach, and one in Santa Ana, is of great concern. This is a very bad season for West Nile virus, and so I just wanted to make sure that we knew that the city manager and one of our producers, John Underwood, are putting together 2 pieces that will be shown on our Channel 3 to inform our residents as to measures that you can take to help prevent those breeding grounds. One of the things I found most interesting when we were at Vectors, they said it takes just in this small lid, if there's water in that standing, they can breed in there and they can cause problems. We have not had any mosquitoes in Los Alamitos that have been found to have West Nile virus, though we did have one that was found over at the racetrack in Cyprus. So they do travel from city to city. Please make sure you have no standing water in your yards, because even just the smallest part of water can be a breeding ground. So with that, we're going to go ahead and we have items for the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to tap into what you're saying, Mr. Mayor. We do have, as you reported, we've put together, John Underwood and Doug Wood put together 30-minute, spliced together videos that the Vector Control District had given us, and that's on LATV now. I also I do want to thank Cassie. I went to the Coyote meeting as well with Mayor Pro Tem Murphy. She did an outstanding job. There was a group of panelists from the various cities of experts that were invited to participate, and Cassie has definitely become one and represented the city of Los Alamitos very well and the residents very well. So I want to thank her for her great work that she did there. And also want to congratulate, from staff's perspective and city's perspective, Dave Pierce for his 32 years of service. So
Absolutely.
much appreciated. He's not here now, but
Yeah.
we,
He's retired. He's
great
out
story.
of here. One last thing, Brett. I thought I had read in the weekly that we were potentially looking at still moving forward with the video where the producer would go and meet with the gentleman from Vector to give, some very specific details, but that could be used on a year-round basis. So the cost would be minimal compared to the benefit over the years, because West Nile virus isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, I've talked to Mr. Underwood about doing that as well. So we've reached out to the Vector Control. They have their public information officer, Mr. Deaver,
Yes,
his name
right.
is. He can participate, is willing to be interviewed by John and then air that on LATV up to 30 minutes. Most of it on the mosquito, West Nile virus, but some other important things that they want to, if we're going to do a video, take the opportunity
Cumulative.
to do that at the same time, and then we can make that available to other surrounding Orange County cities. And I did want to mention at the Coyote meeting, we've requested a copy of that video that came out of that meeting, so we'll put that on our website and on LATV for our residents as well. It's very informative.
Wonderful, wonderful, because there are other issues that we face via vectors, which is we've got the new Asian tiger mosquito, we've got the flea-borne typhus, so I think it shows great insight to include all of those items, because the information isn't going to change over the years, so it's a tool we can use moving forward. And Mr. Councilmember Grose has one more thing he'd like to add.
Yeah, I'd like to ask, with the concurrence of my colleagues, to agendize discussion at our next meeting relative to legal fees. The warrant register, which was approved earlier tonight, we have a retainer fee for the city attorney, which represents about 40 hours at a good price and a good rate, and then an hourly rate when it exceeds that. And we've stayed around that number for a number of months. We actually have a budget, I believe, of 120 or 150,000, so there's provisions where it can be taken care of if they go over. However, for the month of August, on the warrants from 9/15, we had $17,722.50, and I think it's important, since we're really just on the cusp of starting the new fiscal year here, and this was for the month of August, the second month in, that we re-talk the philosophy and the fees, and I've spoken to the city attorney regarding that, so it's not a surprise to him. But if I have concurrence from the rest of the council, I'd like to have that on our next meeting.
Can I ask a question? Is it appropriate for you to break down what those fees were, just in a general manner?
You mean tonight? Sure.
Yeah.
I don't have it in front of me.
Right.
Councilman Grose talked to me about it just before the meeting, so I
Right.
didn't bring it. But last month, our average fee seems like last fiscal year, it was maybe 110, 120,000 for the whole fiscal year. The first month of this fiscal year, I think it was $8,000 maybe. The second month included an awful lot of planning commission matters that my partner, Lisa Kranitz, spent an inordinate amount of time on, but was necessary, was, requested by Steve, and so I think that together with the general plan, the draft EIR, and all of those planning commission matters took up probably half of it. And then there's labor negotiations and just the general business of the city. So our base rate of $150 an hour for the first 40 hours, it jumps all the way up to $225 an hour, which is still way below standard attorney's fees rates. And, that's where it was. So, happy to have it on the agenda. I don't have any position one way or the other, but that's what I'll be saying.
Right. I was just curious because I know we've had some things. So, Dean, I think Warren's in support of having that on the agenda for the next meeting. So, staff, if we could do that. Just for clarification, I think Councilmember Grose also wants to talk about policy and prioritization of how we're going to spend the money. Is that what you were saying, Dean?
No, I just think we need to be cognizant, because part of the reason the budget was higher was in the case of litigation. And in this particular case, the planning portion of it was $37.57. His $6,000 retainer, there was another $6,007.50 for additional services, plus an $877.50, $855, and $2 1/4.
Okay.
I just would like to make sure that we're in communication and we understand going on. Nothing regarding, but there's some times where we should have have a review like this on a basis when we see it.
Madam Mayor, by the way, the $37.57, that was special services for the EIR and general plan.
Okay.
But built into the hours on the retainer, the excess hours, was all those other planning issues for the Planning Commission.
Right. I think that it's good to be informed, so thank you for the information. And now we will go into recess into closed session.
And the purpose of the closed
And
session
the purpose of the closed session?
is a conference with labor negotiators, Kerry Reisman and Greg Cordner, regarding negotiations with the City Employees Association pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The matter below that on the agenda was left over from a prior agenda. So
All right.
that's the section.
All right, so we'll recess into closed session.